Hi guys, and welcome to my final reflection on this education technology course. So one way that I did some tech integration in my flipped lesson plan was by including in my lesson plan student iPad use. So the iPads were chosen in order to let students view my lesson video and to work on their Google Slides KWL chart. My students were also assigned a Google Slides KWL chart, as I just mentioned, and the use of a KWL, or Know, Want to Know, and Learn chart, helps me to check student understanding of standards before and after the lesson. In addition, the use of the Google Slides allows for my students with writing difficulties to respond using the speech-to-text feature, and this helps them to still participate in the assessment without any added pressure or stress resulting from the difficulties with the writing process. I also included a PowerPoint based on the environments information presented within the video, and this helps students to have a written and photographic representation of the information presented in my lesson. When implementing the lesson, I would also share the PowerPoint through student email, and this would help my students to be able to review the PowerPoint as needed on their own time. Some of the alternative technology choices in my flipped lesson plan. One of the other resources I could see myself using in my classroom is that I could use the Pixton Comic app. Students could utilize the app to create their own comics about the facts and places that they learned about in the environments lesson. I could also see my students using iMovie or programs such as Screencastify to make their own movies about the facts that they learned within the lesson. This would let students write their own scripts and work in small groups to make their movies if necessary. So some of the challenges that I see in possibly implementing this flipped lesson would be having my students be able to work between the YouTube video and the KWL chart effectively. Some of my students could easily get confused and lose track of where they were working in the video. Another challenge that I see is that some of my students do have some difficulty with writing assignments. They would need tutorials for how to utilize the speech-to-text features to complete their written responses on the KWL. The other big hurdle for some of my students would be that many do not have internet access at home. This means that they would need to go to a public library or other internet accessible sites if they don't finish the work in school. So some of the resources in my future classroom, some of the resources that I've discovered while working in this class is the ability to subtitle videos and the ability to upload them to YouTube. I can see myself using my educational YouTube channel to be able to share lessons with students during e-learning days. I can also see myself using the Kahoot and Quizzes programs in my classroom as a type of formative assessment in order to check in on student understanding before quizzes and tests. These two programs turn assessment into a type of game, which helps to encourage student participation. And this would be my feeling overall for this course, and just something nice and fun to end this video with. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.